Okay, hello, I'm Dennis. And what I'm going to do right here, what you're looking at is the inside of a Dell Inspiron 24. This is my sister's computer, and right now it's running a 500 gig spinning hard drive, and it only has 4 gigabytes of RAM right there. So what I've got is that we got two 8 gigabytes of RAM that we're going to put in here. See if I can get into that better. So we got two 8 gigabytes sticks of RAM, and the book says it will take 16. There was quite a lot of confusion. If you look it up, I even run the service tag, and even that wasn't a lot of help. There was some confusion on how many memory slots does it have. Some of the videos I watched had 1, and if that was the case, we would have only been able to upgrade to 8 gigabytes. Because I couldn't find it, and I'm not saying they don't make it, I'm just saying I couldn't find a 8 or a 16 gigabyte stick of RAM to fit this computer if it only had 1, but it does have 2. And so now we're going to take and put this Samsung solid state drive, 500 gigabyte, right here. We're going to just replace the hard drive with this SSD and upgrade the RAM to 16 gigabytes. And I'll be turning the EFI mode, UEFI mode in the BIOS. Then we're going to install Linux Mint Cinnamon. Okay, so I'm going to shut down turn off the computer for now. Go ahead and get these exchanges made. Button up the machine. Okay, so I've got the stuff swapped out here. I just thought maybe somebody else might want to know. If you look at this hard drive and the enclosure, there's one screw right here. If you take that screw out, then this whole tray just slips forward by a quarter to a half inch, and then this lifts right up. Very easy. Dell, you got to give it to Dell for making things easy. The RAM just went in typically. There was no anything special. It has these little clips on them right here. You just spread those and the RAM will pop out. So I've seated, you just need to make sure they're seated real well, which I've done. Alright. Okay, so this is the cover. I wanted to, like I said, in case anybody else wants to tear one of these apart, it's really, really easy. I'm hoping you can see those clips. There's clips all the way around this thing, and it basically just snaps out of and into place. So I wanted to show you that. Like I said, you can see the slots where all the pins go. You lay the cover back in place here. You want to make sure that these line up here first. Let them slip over these HDMI, USB, Ethernet, whatever. Let it line up with these first, and then it just goes straight down, and you just squeeze it all the way around, making sure you get rid of all the gaps. And then once you're comfortable with it, it's ready to go back in place. This plate here goes in next, right here, and it has 2 screws that hold it down. Right here, put those screws on, and then a little plastic backing plate goes right back over this thing. So yeah, Dell makes it pretty easy. Alright, let me get it back together. What the final product looks like, it's got this, the stand, which there's 2 screws are underneath this plate. So this plate, you just gently pry it up. It's got pins in it to hold it just like the outside cover did. If you're taking it apart, take this off first, the plate. Then take those screws out and remove this, the stand, and then the rest of it will just unsnap. And reverse order that. So we put the stand in first, put the back cover on it, and we're good to go. And I'll come back when I'm booting into the BIOS. So a quick look into the BIOS here. We got the system memory right there, and it's picking up all 16 gigabytes. So we done good. Okay, another segment here. I didn't mention I'm doing an OEM install for manufacturers, and that way she can set up her own password, what have you. I will install a bunch of programs for her that I know she's going to need anyway. But I wanted to point this out here. We went into UEFI mode, and now I've just did the partitioning, and I have an ESP drive, 512 gigabytes. I gave her an 8 gigabyte swap, and it's going to have a C and a D drive, or a root and a home partition. And I'm fixing to hit the continue button and be done. Okay, so I've booted into the machine here, and I've closed out the Welcome Center, and I'm going straight for the updates. Go ahead and get that out of the way. This is Linux Mint Cinnamon, the newest version that just came out. This is January 2021. Now I'm going to choose my mirrors here. If you'll just wait a minute, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, depending on your internet speed. You'll choose a mirror based on which one you think is the fastest or you're familiar with. And in this case, I opened it up. We're going to give it a minute. The first one is 3 megabytes per second. Let's give it a second. So you got one now at 4.9. So I'll select that one. Tell it to update the cache, which is like, well, it's updating the mirrors, the cache. Okay, so that's done. Now we have all these updates. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to update. This is an OEM install, and so everything that I do right now will show up on her new system when she boots into this. I'm setting this up for my sister. This is an OEM install of Linux Mint Cinnamon. And it comes by default with GNOME System Monitor. We have 6.4 gigabytes of installed size. It's using about 1.5 gigabytes of the 16 gigabytes of RAM that it has. This is the Nemo file manager. And I'm just going to do some tweaks here and tell that when it opens up by default, show the list view or detailed list view. And there it is. And like I said, this is Nemo. I prefer one called PCMan FM, and I actually use both of them with conjunction of each other. Here I'm going to use GNOME disk to turn the write cache off. This is the GNOME disk utility. Do a lot of stuff with this. When this actually gets installed, you'll be able to open that up and tell the condition of your hard drive and some benchmarks that are automatically done. I'm going to close out and I'll come back on next boot. We've booted into it. This is our welcome screen. First thing we're going to do is set up the color. Now I'm going to do the updates or snapshots, I'm sorry. Set up a snapshot. And I'm going to turn the weekly on to 1 and keep 2. We're going to back up everything. That's set up. So now all we have to do is run it. Checking for new drivers to see if there's any drivers that was not installed by default on the initial download. This is Hard Info is the name of the program, but it shows you all kind of stuff about it. We had no drivers needed to be updated. Update Manager says we're up to date because I did that first. Now, like I said, any tweaks or software that I install will carry right over into her new installation. All of these tweaks or what have you will be set up and working for her. Now here it's showing me that I have a built-in microphone, but I don't believe I do. If I do, it's definitely not picking it up. I'm going to turn the firewall on. Which again, there's an argument whether you need one or don't need one. I say if there's any argument, any question, go ahead and use it. Here's the software manager. I'm going to look up XNViewer. It's a multi-platform picture editor. Does a lot more than just, it does a lot of things and uses this, so this is one of the programs that we wanted to have installed for her. And I'm going to put a little icon on the taskbar. You can see this CPU's 4-core, 4-thread. And under system reports, you can get a lot of that information as well. Although not quite as detailed. Or it's just a statement. It's not, you can't change anything. Alright, we're going to change the icons. Make them where they're grouped either closer together or further apart. And XNViewer is a cross-platform, works with Windows, Linux, and Mac. So it's a very decent program. I just don't use it. But I could. We'll go ahead and make some adjustments here to my terminal. We're going to change the color. I want it as bright yellow as I can get it for the text and as dark blue as I can get it for the background. So under here you could have changed your text to general. The profiles, you could add one. Alright. Scrolling, that's good. Y'all want a scrolling. Now I'm going to pick custom font and select the bold, monospace bold, and raise the size of it up just a little. And open up XNViewer. And it's telling me there's an update here, and I appreciate that, and I'm going to come back to it. I'll update it when I do the rest of get some more stuff done. So the first thing I'm going to do is just make double sure that the system is completely updated, and it is. And now I'm going to install a long list of software that I use, and I'm pretty sure that she'll use some of it. Some of it, maybe not so much like Neofetch Glances, but she does know how to run a speed test. And Nomax, in case she decides to use that to look at photos. Krita for editing or creating photo or images. Blender and GIMP, Kdenlive Live for studio work. GUVC View for camera. K3B, DVD, Brasero for burning disk. Making sure that we don't have, or that what I'm fixing to type in is not already installed. Like LibreOffice. I was going to write that in, type that in, but I checked and it comes with LibreOffice. And C-Matrix she'll never use. She does know about it though. PCMan FM will be my file browser of choice, or the one that I want rapid access to it, and I'm going to put that in the taskbar. We'll remove Thunar in the taskbar and replace it with PCMan FM. And I'll show you in a minute here why. So this is going to be, instead of using the software manager to install all of these programs, it would have took quite a while to type them in, wait for it to find it, then click on install, and then go back and look for another one. So in a terminal, this is a clear example of how things can get done very fast. And I realized that she didn't have any games, and I forgot to include that in this list. So I'm going to get the terminal. I got the terminal ready for the next command set. Again, that's the Nemo. This is her hard drive. I just plugged in a 1 terabyte Samsung external hard drive, and this is what we did. This is the stuff that we backed up off of her other hard drive. Primarily her pictures and her bookmarks. And those are all photographs, or for the most part they are. But there's a lot of them. It's not through counting yet, and it's over 43 gigs. 40, it looks like 43 or 48, can't tell. But the other folder is only 16 gigs, so they are different sizes. Some will just change. Actually, I'm going to change the pictures folder to pictures 2. And that way, I can put all of these in her pictures folder on the hard drive. Alright, so now when she opens up pictures, she'll see both of those folders. And we got her bookmarks, so I'm going to go ahead and open up Firefox. It's going to take me to the Linux Mint webpage, which is okay. It is already marked in the bookmarks. We'll go to DuckDuckGo and do our initial search here for Yahoo. She likes Yahoo as her web page, or her home page, I'm sorry. Now I'm looking for a certain extension. HTTPS everywhere, I believe it's called. See, the beauty of this OEM installs, I can go ahead and get all this stuff installed and most of it tweaked up and ready. Where all she has to do really is name the computer and give a password. And obviously there'll be the tweaks that she'll want to do. I'm going to change the default size to 110%. Use the current page there as the home page, which is Yahoo. Now I'm going to back up, restore from a JSON file that we saved yesterday that's on the storage drive. Click OK. Now, I close out of that and I'll open it back up and we'll see all of our bookmarks already there for her. Isn't that nice? That's awesome. Alright, I'm going to change the system font to a bold. And those are all just preferences. So we're ready for the next command to install a few games here. Solitaire for one. In case my dad comes over, he might want to play. That's the calendar. I just changed it to show the day, the month, the day of the month, and the time. We'll run speed test here just to see if that's the hang up on the internet browser. You can see it's pulling it in from Las Vegas, 2,654 kilometers from here. I'm telling you, this internet service here is questionable at best. She asked me would it improve the internet speed, and my answer is a resounding no. It might make breezing between the channels easier, or faster, but it's not going to do anything for the overall speed. Okay, so we had an error with copying over. Apparently it might have been a Windows, like a thumbs or something of that nature. Because it has been, that external hard drive was formatted on a Windows. Because I knew Linux would still recognize it. But not the other way around. It'd make you format it and then you'd lose everything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and download the deb file for the XNViewer software. That's complete. Still copying files, but this should have plenty of beef now. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 4-core processor, and a SSD on top. So I'm going to open it up and install it. Find it in that folder and use the Dev Package Manager to install it. And curiously here, I'm probably, I don't know if she ever uses this and she finds or when she uses this, and if she finds a problem in the default application, then we can use the flat pack. I think you'll see here in a minute where this is actually turns out to where it was installing the flat pack. Or it's described in the start menu as flat pack. So I put it in the taskbar there. And these are just some of the settings in this program. It's capable of doing quite a bit, exploring your computer very easily, opening it up and exposing your pictures. And there they are. A lot of them. Okay, so those are all there. I'm going to get rid of Thunar on the taskbar. And I'm going to find PCMan FM, and I'm going to replace it with that. And if you'll notice, it did not put that icon on the far right. It put it right where it should be. That's rather nice. Instead of having to right click on it and select move and then put it where you want it. That is nice. So we got no Macs working. That's the picture viewer. So that's the Nemo file manager. And you can see on the left you don't really have your tree, or you do have the option up there under my computer, I think, to change this, but you'll notice that's actually one of my nephews. He beat the dog crap out of this dude in about, I don't know, a minute and a half into the round. That was just a little clip that I had pulled off of it for something else. I don't know why she had it. That was kind of ironic that I clicked on that one not knowing what it was, and it was my nephew. Who just left here, by the way, heading back to Mobile as a school teacher, bless his heart. You know, they got to be fairly good people, at least be teachers. Have to be very understanding and pretty sharp, I imagine. I know as a student we would have picked up whether a teacher knew what he was doing or not, or her, mostly women at that time. Okay, so I'm going to update. I installed the virus scanner just in case. You never know. There's arguments both ways, but you know, you never know. So I'm going to adjust tweak the desktop a little bit. Now the wallpaper, she'll have to pick that. She has a couple of real nice ones that she uses, and I'm pretty sure she knows how to do that.